right, I'm Mike Morano, reporting for DamonWildcats.com, and joined right now by our head men's basketball coach, Mike McDonald. Coach, first time in a couple of weeks we've had a chance to sit down and chat a little bit about the season, and a lot's gone on in the last couple of weeks. You guys came back from the Christmas break, suffered a 1-point loss at St. Michael's, kind of a crazy game. You guys got down by quite a bit, came all the way back, just couldn't finish it off. But since then, 6 wins in a row. You guys really have it rolling, up to 11-6 overall, 5-2 in the East Coast Conference. And the surprising thing, maybe, the winning streak has come without your leading scorer, Deion Hamilton, who was out for the year, and without a couple of other key pieces like Nick Petroselli, who's out for the year.
Yeah, I mean, you basically summed it up right there, Mike. You're right. I mean, it's been a little bit of a wild ride, but we keep fighting, keep battling, and trying to figure out ways to win. We knew when Deion went down, Nick had gone down early in November. Xavier Long decided to graduate, which is great for him, but it did leave us a little bit of a hole. And then Deion's situation where he is not going to be able to play for the rest of the year. So we knew we'd be shorthanded somewhat, but the guys have rallied around, and we've tried to figure out a way to win the next game. That's kind of our whole thing, is just win the next one and see what happens.
You certainly had some guys step up, and we'll talk about some of those guys in a minute, but just overall, you've been doing it with efficient offense. You lead the East Coast Conference in field goal percentage, and you're doing it with efficient defense as well. I think you're first in the league in field goal percentage defense and first in the league in points per game allowed.
I think those are real important. I think the other thing too is our rebounding has been much better. We've rebounded well, even though we're playing 3 guards. Obviously, moving Andrew Cisco into the starting lineup has helped with that. But we've kind of we've definitely been more committed to the defensive end, without a doubt, and our offense has been able to be efficient. And usually when you get stops, you're going to be better offensively because you got a shorter court to play on offense. You can run down and get some transition baskets. And I think that's what's happened with us a little bit, is we've been able to get stops. We've been able to outlet and get out and run and get some easier baskets. And that's made our offense a little bit better.
You mentioned that you're going to more of a 3-guard lineup. One of those 3 guards is a guy, Breon Harris, who I don't want to say he's come out of nowhere, because he's been contributing for you all year long. But when you look at his numbers, I think it's really staggering, especially to a layperson out there that might not be following the team, as closely as we do. To the first 10 or 11 games, he was coming off the bench, giving you 3 points per game and shooting 31 or 32% from the field. You put him in the starting lineup, and he's giving you 14 points a game. He's shooting over 60%, and shooting over 60% as a 5'9" guard. I mean, that's unreal.
Yeah, you're probably wondering what the heck was the coach thinking? Why wasn't he playing more earlier, right? That's what I'm thinking every time I watch the film. He's really kind of embraced his role, and honestly, when Deion went down, we had about a day and a half to figure out what we were going to do. And we had a long bus ride to St. Mike's. So we started that game with Melvin Grayson starting as a 3-man. And we didn't go too well. We were down 27 at the half. We'd been down 30 at one point in that half. And so to put it mildly, it didn't go very well. We made an adjustment at halftime and said we'd start Andrew, so we're a little bit bigger at center, and then we would start Breon and kind of play 3 guards, and it clicked. And sometimes I'd like to tell you that was a plan all along, but that would be lying. It would be, sometimes things just work, and the chemistry has worked for them, and it gives Jay Sarkis and Darius Garvin another guy who can really handle the ball. He's embraced the role of being a playmaker, which was what Deion was before he went out. And, it's been... it's just been really fun to see. And I think the moment right now that I'll remember probably for the longest time is when Breon hit a big 3 at St. Rose in the second half, and the smile on his face, because he had really struggled from the three-point line going up to that point where it was, he hadn't made one, I think that might have been the first one he made all year. And the smile on his face was like, all right, I can do this thing. And it kind of, you've seen his confidence grow and grow and grow. And in turn, the other players' confidence in him, the coaching staff's confidence everything is kind of blossomed. So it's been neat to see. And he's a really good player. And, he's still got some things to improve on, like we all do. But it's nice to see him assume this role and move forward.
Yeah, it's been really, you said it, it's been fun to watch. I think early in the season, you could tell he was really just a good athlete out there playing basketball. And what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, or at least in my observation, is he's become a basketball player now. Yeah. And it's really been fun to watch. And
I think he always was, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt, but he, what happened was last year he had some issues where he became ineligible for the second semester, and he had to sit down, and he really had to grow up a little bit. And he had played some in the first semester, but he hadn't been committed to the academic part of it. And one thing we preach at Damon is the entire student athlete, and he had to grow up. And he did. He's done a great job. He's never been a bad kid. He was just, like a lot of freshmen, they get here and they'd been slacking off as a senior in high school, and they kind of continue the senior slack off as a freshman, and that doesn't usually work. And he ended up, having to go through a tough year. And so in reality, the beginning of this year was like his freshman year all over again. And he had to go through the growing pains. And then with Dion's situation, he ended up becoming fast forward, and hey, you gotta go. And he's really adapted to it.
Yeah, he certainly deserves credit for all the growth he's made here over the last year and a half here since coming. And you mentioned his playmaking ability as well. It's not just his scoring and the way he's shooting the ball. And just to piggyback on your point, he was 0 for 14 from three-point range to start the year. He's now 10 of 19 in the last 6 games.
Hope that continues, right?
Yeah. But his playmaking ability too. He's giving you 5 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, 3 steals a game. He's just all over the court. And like you said, it's just been a really a joy to watch, and hopefully he can keep it rolling for you. He's going to get a lot of the credit because of the disparity in those numbers. But you guys have really been balanced. And Andrew Sisko has been playing well. He's given you 9 straight games of double-figure scoring. Jay Sarkis is second in the league in three-point field goals. He's got 22 games in a row with at least 1 3. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I'm knocking on wood again.
And you got other players playing well. You mentioned Darius Garvin. Alex Miljanovic had back-to-back 17.
Alex has been great. I think we got to really mention him because it's he's a senior who was moved to the bench. He got moved out of the starting lineup after the St. Mike's game and didn't pout, didn't cry, didn't feel sorry for himself, has really embraced his role and has come off the bench. And when you can get double figures for sure off of somebody off the bench, that really makes you feel better as a coach. And he's just been great. I mean, and I've told him and Andrew, I'm not really concerned, and kind of Jeff Redband too, I'm not concerned who starts, I'm concerned who finishes. And there are games where Alex finishes for us, and he's been great. And just really great to see. You talk about a team and guys buying in. It's a special group. We only have 10 guys, but you really enjoy coaching them. You really enjoy working with them, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and one of those guys you mentioned already, Melvin Grayson, I think he deserves credit too because he's had some moments for you. Made a couple of big threes in some games, and Gianbattista Davis, he had made 3 threes and 9 points against Roberts Wesleyan. Yep. He's had some moments, and those are guys that weren't getting a lot of minutes at the start of the year, and they've, like Breon, have taken the opportunity in front of them and embraced it and succeeded.
You got to answer the bell. You don't know when the bell's going to ring for you, but you got to answer it.
Right? Sean McDermott?
Yeah, you got to answer the bell, and those guys have answered the bell. They got their opportunity, and they've seized it, and now we have 11 games left, and I tell them, hey, let's keep it rolling.
Just a couple of highlights of the winning streak. It started on December 31st against St. Rose, who was a team that was regionally ranked. You snapped their 14-game home winning streak. We had a 25-point win against Roberts Wesleyan on the road, which is our 13th consecutive win against Roberts Wesleyan in that series.
That's only this team's first, though. I'll remind you.
You keep telling them.
Yeah.
big 74-66 win here at home last week against LIU Post, who had come in. I think they were tied for first or tied for second in the league at that point. But all that has propelled you guys. You're regionally ranked for the first time this season, and in at a tie for number 10. What is that something you talk to the team about? Is that something that means anything to you?
Right now, no. We're worried more about what do we got to do for the next game and win that next game and get that next game. One thing we should mention, I think is pretty cool, and Bridget Nyland mentioned this to me, that we have 10 guys wearing uniforms right now. 7 of the 10 got over a 3.0. We had, at one point, Bridget was the one who pointed out that we might have had the highest GPA of any team in America playing basketball, because with guys like Tista was out there, Andrew Sisko, Jeff Redband, Darius Garvin, and Jay Sarkis. I think they all might have been above a 3.5 at one point. So it was, I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose all that stuff, but that's something we should brag about, and that's something we should be proud about. And that, for us going forward, that's got to be one of our strengths, is we have to be smarter than teams we play against.
Yeah, no question. Just looking ahead, you guys will go on the road this week, 2 East Coast Conference games, Friday against Malloy and then Sunday against Queens. What challenges are those teams going to present for you?
It's always tough to win on the road in this league, as you know, and we've never had a ton of success on this road trip. Since I've been here, it's always been a battle and a grind. We lost 2 tough games to Malloy last year. And Malloy is going to be, their record isn't great, but I believe they're a team that's definitely better than their record. They're very well coached, and they have some very good pieces. And their guard, Sean Corbett, is really good. After that, Queens has again won some games in the league. They're very balanced, and they're very well coached as well. So we have our work cut out for us this weekend, without a doubt.
Well, we will wish you the best of luck. Both games will be broadcast live on the ECC network from their respective sites, so you can check them out there. And as always, we'll have you covered with all the information you need at DamoWildcats.com. And hopefully we'll be checking in next week after a pair of wins and 2 home games coming up next week.